Hi, I'm Woody, and welcome to my world. It's not much of a world this morning, though. After just returning from Detroit, where yesterday we saw the debacle in Detroit, the Motown down, whatever you might want to call it. I haven't seen anything like that in Detroit since the Avalanche played Game 7 of the 2002 Western Conference Finals against Detroit and lost 7-0. This was almost as severe, although just not as meaningful. But the Broncos have finished the first half of their season 3-5, and that was the easy part. Now comes the hard part. They play at Kansas City next week, and they never play well in November or December in Kansas City when the wind starts to whip through Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs are playing better than the Broncos. You follow it up with Tennessee coming in. LenDale White with a successful homecoming. Here's a guy that grew up here, finally establishing himself this year as a legitimate NFL running back, and a proficient one at that, with Vince Young. Do we really want another Monday night game here after what happened against Green Bay? Then the Broncos, on successive weeks, have to go to Chicago and Oakland. What does that mean? Can Mike Shanahan be lived with if the Broncos lose to Brian Griese in Chicago and Al Davis's troops in Oakland? Won't happen. Kansas City playing here, and then you have games on the road at Houston where we find the backup to John Elway and the student to Mike Shanahan, Gary Kubiak. That's going to be a tough game for the Broncos to win. San Diego, Christmas Eve, no chance. If the Chargers can beat the Broncos by almost 40 here, imagine what they're going to do in San Diego. Finally, the game that will end the season and end this misery is against the Minnesota Vikings. What happened yesterday? Adrian Peterson almost went for 300 yards while setting the NFL single-game rushing record. Where have we heard that before? I think it was in 2003. Corey Dillon set the then NFL single-game rushing record against the Broncos. You've got the worst rushing defense in the National Football League. He could put up a 400 or 500 spot. We haven't seen Peterson this successful since he was a freshman at the University of Oklahoma and came into Boulder. I think that it's quite possible that we'll see for the second time in our lives a 2,000-yard runner in Denver. That would be Terrell Davis, who did it here, and Adrian Peterson. Maybe that gives you something to look forward to, but this season has nothing else going for it for the Broncos. They're just getting worse and worse, and there's nothing they can do at this point to turn it around. I'm Woody Page, and I'll see you in the sports pages.